Yeah, no, it's got a nice little groove to it.
It was nice and peaceful coming in here. You know, I felt like I was part of an elevator.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's called night driving.
Well, that'll put me to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Probably not perfect at night.
I'm just sitting here vibing, you know. Welcome to the show. And that show is Deadzone the podcast.
Deadzone the podcast.
Welcome to the Deadzone podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop.
I'm Brian, and with me today is Dev.
Yes, I am Dev Slaven from Muncie, Indiana. Pathfinder extraordinaire, father of two. Yeah.
So unfortunately, Rick is unavailable this month. It is one of his children is graduating, and so it is that time of year where
I just did a preschool graduation today.
Oh,
literally uploading the photos right now from my camera to my phone. So
gotcha. Well, hey, congratulations. But yeah, so Dev is a good friend of the show, and we worked with him before as Pathfinder buddies, running the Adepticon and things like that. So we've been talking about wanting to get him on the show for a while. Not that he knew that.
No, I did not know that.
But it was great that schedules aligned and we were able to bring you on today. So thanks for joining us, Dev.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so what we always tend to do when we have guests come on the show is we do like to get a little bit of the history, like how did Dev arrive at the party kind of thing. And so like what ultimately, like obviously this is a big gaming hobby that we're in. So we always like to find out, like, how did you get into the gaming hobby?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
the big questions here on Deadzone.
Oh man, yeah. Well, no, I've answered this one plenty of times to people. So my gaming experience actually began when I was in middle school. HeroClix had came out. And I had loved comics, had some buddies that were into it. We were mowing lawns trying to get new HeroClix, new packets, open up the new plastic crack for that what that is,
Yeah.
It ventured into Monster Apocalypse when that got big.
Okay.
There were a few other games I really enjoyed, but I couldn't get anyone to play, like HeroScape. Really loved that.
Yeah.
No one wanted to play it. And there was also some sort of football game too that I really loved. And
okay.
Yeah, it was a different type of football game. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember the actual dice was a 6-sided dice with a football on it. Eventually, I got out of the actual tabletop, if you want to consider that tabletop.
Sure.
Got into Magic the Gathering for a little bit.
As one does.
As one does. Learned that was a very expensive hobby. Couldn't keep up with it as a poor college student.
As one does.
As one does. Couldn't keep up with competitive standard. At the time, Vampires was the cheapest deck, and it was like $400, $500, and yeah, it was brutal. Eventually, I just stopped gaming for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I got a buddy who's was getting back in the game that I played HeroClix with. He had played Warhammer and stuff before. He's like, "Hey, I think you would like Blood Bowl."
Okay.
This is like the revamp 2016, I think it was when it came back. And I was like, okay, sure, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Got into Blood Bowl heavily. heavily got into Blood Bowl. I almost had every single team that they had released.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Then eventually went down the GW path, as one does.
As one does.
Finally got away from that addiction when Guild Ball got big, and then eventually discovered more and more games and led to Mantic. So
yeah,
Dread Ball was actually the first game for Mantic I learned about. So
oh nice, and it's an excellent one. It's fascinating too, because like for me, Dread Ball was my kind of first sports themed tabletop game, board game, however you want to slice it, like and it definitely like was that realization. It's like there are a lot of really solid like sports themed tabletop games
100%
that are totally worth checking out, and is also a great depending on what type of game they are, a great like inroad if you want to get your family into your crazy hobby.
Yes, and Dread Ball is one of those for sure. It is one of my top 5 favorite games. I love it. Hopped on the bandwagon a little bit too late trying to get people into it.
Sadly.
But everyone that's played it has enjoyed it. I feel like it's a good intro game for people. It's a board game. It's a miniature game. Like, it's a good mix.
Yeah.
There's some hobby to it. And it does have a little bit competitive. Now, there are some quirks to it, exploding sixes, exploding dice, adds a good theme to it, I will say. Now, like, it wasn't like some of the people that I tried to pull from like Guild Ball love that very, precise movements, the technicality of where do I put my actions at. I don't know if you've ever played that one, seen it played. But Dread Ball has been a hit, I will say.
Excellent.
And I'm really hoping, crossing my fingers, that Mantic brings it back.
Same here. You heard it, Mantic. Your Pathfinders need it. So that I think is a great segue into kind of the next question we have, which is always like, what is your favorite Mantic game?
Well, what got me to become a Pathfinder? Firefight.
Nice.
I absolutely love it. I had played Mantic games while still playing some GW games still. And what really broke the camel's back with GW was, the pricing, all that stuff. And then Firefight, boom, here you are. And I'm like, I want to get into this game. I actually had never played Deadzone. I actually had played Kings of War and Dread Ball. That was the only 2 games I'd played for Mantic. And Firefight, I just love the game. I became a Pathfinder because of it. I became a beta tester for like new rules, new armies coming out, stuff like that. And I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, no, Firefight has been, I think, a pretty resounding success from a game mechanics standpoint. It is incredibly fun to play. It runs so smoothly. Having run a couple tournaments of it now, like the rules themselves are fairly straightforward. So it's often just very kind of niche cases that we're having to do rulings on or anything like that. So, then Command Protocols came out.
Command Protocols came and improved a bunch of things. I still think there's a few things that still can be improved, but we're gonna have to wait, however long it is until we push out a new update. But it's just so fluid. I love that. Again, coming from a Warhammer background, a 40K background, I deployed wrongly. My army shut off. Very first turn.
Game's over.
Game's over, and let's re-rack. Versus Firefight, you can't do that. And that was one of the big things. And taking some of the other aspects from other games, like the pinning system, movements, which I always referred to Legion movements because Star Wars Legion. I had played that one, and that movement was, hey, you move the leader and then move everything else around it. It's more fluid, more easy, just better in general.
It keeps the game moving. And like I was unfamiliar with it being a mechanic in Legion, but came to learn that. But yeah, like it just makes the game move if you're only having to measure from one guy. You just bring everybody else along for the ride.
Yep.
And yeah,
it doesn't matter where you place them as long as they're within X amount of inches. So. Yep.
And no one, or at least I haven't seen many people like I like that they also. I don't know if you ever play. You probably didn't play the original firefight that came in.
I did not.
Warpath second edition. I think second edition. There were those kind of gamey moments where your cohesion was just to the other units in the unit. Like the other models, and so you had like literal like firing lines of guys because they just had to be cohesive to each other. Now that it's centered on the one guy, it runs so smooth. I do really enjoy Firefight. I feel bad that I haven't played it much. Just from I think Deadzone is so easy to pick up and play for me.
Deadzone is super easy to pick up and play, and it's less hobby initiative into it. But unless you go hard into the terrain, of course. But you're gonna have to have terrain for firefight as well. So
yeah, which is most of my Deadzone stuff.
Yes.
So obviously firefight's a big one, and you have other Mantic game loves, as it were. Do you have a favorite faction? And it can bridge all of them, but out of curiosity.
Favorite faction would definitely, well, until a certain faction comes out here very soon. It's been Plague.
Yep.
One thing that if you ever play a game with me, especially if we're playing a sci-fi game, I like to bring a knife or claws to a gunfight. I will run in with reckless like assaults. I don't care how well it goes. But I will just throw bodies at you. And I'm not a horde player. That's the thing. I don't like playing hordes. I just like throwing things at you and you make you panic.
Yeah. Oh, Plague is great for that.
Yes.
And we do have a section later that we'll be talking about, but obviously what you're hinting at is the Nightstalkers.
Yes.
Which I believe we have permission to speak. Like they're obviously coming.
They're obviously coming. I don't know how much we can say, but we can maybe hint a few things.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Chopper.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Rob.
From Mobile Armor Radio.
And you are listening to Deadzone, the podcast with Rick and Brian in the morning.
Never heard of it.
I don't even know who those guys are.
And shame on me for not following up with Mantic, specifically what we're allowed to speak to. But obviously May, the month of May here was kind of the sneak peek, slow trickle of building up the hype of the Nightstalkers coming to Deadzone and firefights. I believe I can share, since this will be going out at the end of the month, that June we're going to see some actual releases of things, or further announcements of the hard details of like what's going to be coming in box sets and packages. And
yes, we don't know any of those specifics. I have seen some of the new models coming. They are wonderful. They're beautiful. I wish, Mantic could send us early copies, get paid up for everything, but
Yep. Sometimes, but not on the newest, hottest stuff. It usually It's not given out to everybody.
No, it's not. No.
But no, you're right. Like, and one thing that I've loved seeing the community kind of rally around is like thinking back, like the original hint that the Nightstalkers were coming was like Adepticon 2023.
Yes.
During Mantic Night, there was it's a slightly garbled message from Ronnie. I think it was just inherently garbled, not,
Yes.
not artificially garbled, or just hard to hear on the recording of it. But he had hinted that things, I think something along the lines of like things that stalk the night would be coming, and there was this original kind of pushback against it because it's like, oh, you're bringing fantasy into my sci-fi, and I think the community has really started rallying around, especially with some of the promotional artwork and stuff like that, and the marketing that they've been releasing for this this new faction have really made the case of one of these eldritch monsters of nightmares in a sci-fi setting.
Yeah, they fit perfectly, absolutely perfect. You know, my argument was when they first announced them, I was like, hey, they'd be great, you know, to add into. Oh, why am I drawing the blank now? I play them all the time in Deadzone.
Oh, to like the Plague?
No, not the Plague.
Or Maison or something?
No. The why am I drawing a blank?
We'll
Dang it, man. I feel bad. I'm on recording now. I'm going to get called out.
Marauders. The Reps.
The Nameless.
The Nameless.
Oh my gosh. Literally drew a blank. I literally play them all the time.
We are recording a little bit later in the evening. It's the middle of the week.
It's been a long day. I've been up since 5 a.m. and it is 9 p.m. at night right now. So
yeah.
No. My argument was that they would be perfect for Nameless.
Yeah, I think.
But that wasn't the case. So, as people will see, hopefully, by the time this recording comes out,
yes,
you will see you'll see some familiar models, some new things coming in, and they have some solid rules.
Yeah, it's. I haven't really looked at the rules for them. I've kind of decided to exit myself from the beta side of things, simply because I wasn't able to participate to a level that I wanted to be part of that group. It's just life has been pretty crazy, and so I've kind of kept myself from looking at the specifics. So they get to be a wonderful surprise for me when the release ultimately comes out. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'm in this weird quandary now where I do have so I've got Nightstalkers from Vanguard, which were on square bases.
Yes.
And rectangular bases, and I have the newer sets, that the 2-player set that came from the Northern Alliance and Nightstalkers set, which is an awesome set. And I'm kind of torn, like where do I make my minis individuals and where do I like have them as their multi-base in Kings and whatnot. So, but honestly, they give you so many models in those kits you could get away with.
Yeah. I took a lot for testing because we had tested online a little bit. I went ahead and got like some of the newer models, got newer kits that came in, like the newer butchers and stuff, like, because I had the old ones. They're still sitting on the big rectangular bases for Kings of War. But I went ahead and just got them and we tested them. I think I played maybe 15 to 20 games and tests. So
nice.
Yeah, it was fun. They are definitely going to be my favorite faction.
That's awesome. That is so cool to hear. Yeah, so Nightstalkers obviously a pretty exciting thing, and the fact that they're rolling out for both Firefight and Deadzone.
Yes.
I just love that the Mantic's able to hit those scales of it for a new faction release.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like they're going to be the first like really big addition to Deadzone since 3rd edition, right?
Yeah, like ultimately.
I mean, we have these 2 new teams that came through the vault.
We did have like the Marauder. Well, I guess that was part of Firefight. The Marauders got their redo, and but like as a Deadzone faction, like we haven't really seen many updates for Deadzone since 3rd edition came out. Apart, like you're saying, these kind of mercenary bands that are trickling in from the vault, which got earmarked for a future topic in the show here.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. But yeah, so obviously some really exciting stuff ahead in Mantic's Summer of Sci-Fi, as they've been branding it. So did want to circle back to get some more input for as another Pathfinder. We always love to hear from those members of the community that kind of put forth that effort to go out, meet, grease the palms, meet people where they are, try to get them involved in the game and the community, get stores kind of on board with supporting it. It is a big effort, and we really appreciate the work that Pathfinders do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was curious, would you want to speak to like what your Pathfinder experience has been like?
No, I wouldn't. I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right, next question.
Next question. No. Pathfinder experience. I love it and I hate it at the same time.
I can get that.
So coming again, 40K background. A lot of community areas 40K. Mm-hmm. So, and just not just from Mantic, just any other game that you try to rope people into. If it's not 40K, it's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Luckily, I do have some good friends who helped my experience make this a little bit more easier. Mm-hmm. Helped give good word of mouth about the games, and just generally just helped give us a good, solid playing group when everyone can show, of course.
Yeah.
Like on a good night, I would say on an average night, we could average anywhere between 4 to 6 people.
Okay.
On a good night, if everybody showed with everyone has stuff, I would say we could get probably 12 to 14.
Oh, nice.
But again, the the stars, the planets all have to align. But my experience, outside of that, I mean, it's fun. It does become a little daunting, and we have another bullet point coming up here about what I'm going to mention here. But I think I've probably been one of the most proactive Pathfinders since my journey, almost 2.5 years, I think now. Yeah.
You've been you kind of exploded on the scene, as they say.
I think last year, and I didn't even input all these to Pat for credit. I probably did anywhere between 20 to 25 demos.
Very nice.
That's counting some of them being, just one person demo. Yeah. But generally they were 2 to 4 people. Just bringing people on board, showing them what we have, like scheduling a demo in advance. And just showing people all the different systems from Firefight to Armada Kings. It's not just, hey, I'm a Pathfinder, I'm focusing on this one game. No, I've done everything.
Yeah.
I have demo army galore for every single system, and it's been a lot, and there has been a lot of burnout from it.
No, I definitely understand that. It's it takes a lot of energy and effort, and especially there are those tough times where you're out there demoing at a store and you're there for a couple hours, and most people maybe just say hi to you.
Yeah.
You know,
But the big problem is me, as you've learned, Brian, is I like to talk. Don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or not, because sometimes I just, word vomit. But one thing you'll get from me is, I'm a truthful person, and, I'm not going to BS you about anything. I will say what I think, and, I will say I think Mantic Games has some of the best gaming systems on the planet.
Here, here.
I feel like there might be a few games that might be better competitive wise outside of Kings.
Sure.
I think Kings is probably one of the top competitive games out on the market. Firefight is getting there. I think Armada's beautiful. We just need more match play missions.
Yeah.
But in general, I think Mantic has some of the best games. And I tell people that. I'm like, and they're like, oh, that's just a knockoff of another system. I'm like, well, well, 40K, comes off of Star Wars and Star Trek. And, just mix it, throw Grimdark at it and boom, hey. But I was like, if people complain about Games Workshop prices, rules, and stuff like that, I'm like, there is another light. There are other games, even if it's not even Mantic.
Yeah.
I mean, because you personally know, my father owns a baseball card shop. I do tabletop stuff out of there.
Yeah.
And we sell and provide games out of there what we can a little bit, we've only been in business for going on a year next month.
Oh yeah.
The time flies. And so, not only am I pushing Mantic games as a Pathfinder, that's where my heart is. I try to push Battletech, Warlord games, Bolt Action. We have Conquest, which I don't really push that one because that's a competitor, but we have a player that's very dedicated to that one.
Sure.
I help him out. Star Wars Shatterpoints. I even have a few Osprey games sitting in there. We just finished the Gaslands campaign.
Oh, nice.
So it's just one thing I like to do is just push games and show my love for them. And it kind of goes into what your next topic is, the next bullet point, because I have a cheat sheet up over here as well.
He's got a cheat sheet. I went the extra mile and I actually put together an agenda.
Which helped. It helped. No. What I enjoy most is just meeting people, talking to people. If the hobby could pay, a good living.
Yeah, exactly.
I would do this full time. And one of the things I enjoy the most is going to the conventions. Adepticon, Gen Con have been the two that I've gone to ever since I've been a Pathfinder. My first experience was just giving like firefight demos at Gen Con the first year the firefight came out.
Sure.
Then went to Adepticon and did the side game.
Yeah, the Veerman, the
Doom
Ball.
Yeah, right. which we were tweaking on the spot, trying to make it quicker for people because some people were sitting there forever. But eventually they Pat had me help on the floor, and that's where I think I really shine. I just love doing that, and like. Even when I went to Gen Con last year and got put on Invincible, the card game, I did about 250 demos over the 3 or 4 days we were there. And
that's insane.
Yes. But not a bad game.
Yeah.
Not my forte.
No, that's fair.
I would rather be pushing miniature games. But I just love meeting the people, talking to them, learning their gaming experiences. This year at Gen Con, I don't know exactly what we're going to be pushing. I know at Adepticon, we pushed Halo.
Yeah.
And I had an absolute blast with that one.
Awesome.
Not the knock Deadzone, but I think Halo might knock that one down a peg, for my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be quite the kind of Deadzone 3.5.
And what I like about I love Deadzone, but as we both know, dice can spike. Really fast. Or dice can go cold really fast. And next thing you know, things are dead, like almost completely gone, turn 2, turn 3, and then it's not really a game anymore. What I love about Halo is respawn.
The respawn, yeah.
and it's a smaller model count to make it quicker because of the respawn mechanic. And I think it's brilliant. And I'm hoping, I haven't fully decided if I'm going to Gen Con this year. I have a few personal things going on, but I'm hoping if I go, I can be at the booth showing that off 100%. Because I mean, again, seeing the excitement for people's faces, especially at Adepticon, was great. And people coming over, I'm like, well, have you ever played a Mantic game system before? No. Great, perfect. Because if you like this, you might like.
And while you're waiting for the Halo game to come out, why don't you get some
that's
practice?
what I did. You know, you might like Deadzone, or you might check out one of our other games and give it a try. Like, like I had people like, oh, I'm here for a Kill Team tournament. I'm like, oh, well, I played the new Kill Team. It's okay. They're like, yeah, it has a bunch of issues. I'm like, come over and play Deadzone. Try this out. You know, we have intro boxes over here that are pretty, you know, very inexpensive. Terrain, you know, you might. Terrain base models, you might have to get a couple other things, you know, to grow your army, but
it's Mantic has always been great at that entry point, giving you plenty to start with, that you're not just kind of getting a skeleton, you know, just this bare bones thing that you know, you can kind of play the game around. It's like, no, you have what you need to play the game potentially at a competitive level out of the box. So that's always been a strong suit for them. So no, it's great to hear that that the Halo game itself is just, you know, so fun. I think Mantic just recently posted an update saying I think they've sold out.
I think that was the post today.
Yeah, the Spartan sets or whatever it was.
I don't know if it was Spartan sets. I didn't see that. I just saw sold out. And then I saw something happening. I think I shared on my Facebook. I think on June 12th they're doing a video against Army Painter.
Yep. Yeah, June 12th, there's Mantic versus the Army Painter. And
that should be a fun video.
Yeah, it should be. Like I do really like the Army Painter paints have been kind of my new go-to in that I've just like the speed paint 2.0s. I've just found them to be really nice. You know, I had a lot of like contrast paints, and that's kind of been making my transition to Army Painter stuff for a lot of my other regular colors.
Yeah, we don't. So we carry Duncan's Tooth and Coats at our shop, only because my dad was talked into it. Talking to the Asmodee rep when we were first starting. I wish we would have went Army Painter. Because speed paints, I love them. I love the 1.0s. I still have a few bottles.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like the reactive, and I loved them. It made my plague look so much better. To be able to, because I'd paint them and let them dry for a little bit, and then I would dry brush with like I would do the Zenithal Prime and then the speed paint. Then I dry brushed over them with an off-white. So kind of like a not really like almost like a very bright bone color. It would reactivate and make it brighter highlights.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. And actually, one of my aberrations when Rob Berman was still doing the posts actually made it on the Mantic page.
Nice.
And I'm like, cool. I just did this with speed paints and a dry brush. Yes.
That's so cool.
And now I think I can show this model. If this is going on YouTube.
Well, actually, we're not going to be using the video portion of the recording because I've still been really lazy about getting this posted. You're lazy,
but you can see it. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, you know that's actually what the Duncan paints. So, and I shared a photo with I think before of what I've done with them. So,
very nice.
yeah. Since I shared that photo with you, I've painted. Let me see. 3 or 4 more squads of things, so another probably 15 models.
Nice. That definitely speaks to something we'll be touching on later. As kind of a last beat, kind of for the Pathfinder discussion. We've been seeing a huge uptick, I think, in new members of the community, and likely a few people that maybe kind of have that ambition to, start building that community around them and kind of be that force of change. Do you have any tips that you feel you've kind of picked up that really make it easier to do and help them get started?
If you're passionate about it, do it. Go for it. Don't question it. If you don't have, like, maybe you just have a Deadzone starter set. Maybe you just have a King's starter set. Just paint it up, contact Pat, and do that. Don't go crazy. Don't be me. Don't put the Superman cape on and, try to show off to everybody. I don't do that. But no, I just take it at your own pace. That's the important thing. When I first hopped into it, I mean, my first year, again, 2022 was my first year as a Mantic Pathfinder. I painted probably 600 to 700 models that year. In between doing all my demos and raising 2 kids and working and everything else, if you're single or, you don't have any kids, and you have the time, do it. But just don't kill yourself. And most importantly, don't get discouraged. That's the huge thing. You're gonna have a lot of failures. I can't say that for my own personal story. I've had a lot of successes. Luckily I've had a community, from the get-go, that's helped top game from game. And if you have that, then cool. But you got to get out there and you got to ignore the naysayers.
Yeah.
That's the big problem. You'll have the people, Mantic models are crap, blah, blah, blah. Or, they're just trying to cop Warhammer and show them some of the new models because they are beautiful. I for their scale, they're not GW scale. They're, a little bit smaller scale.
Yeah.
For their scale, I think there's some of the newer models are some of the best models in the market.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
But if they want to say knockoff, I'm like, well, first of all, like, what do you not like about Warhammer? What do you not like about fantasy or X game? Infinity. Maybe you have a big Infinity community. Just come over and try it. It doesn't hurt you to come in and play a 30-minute demo.
Yeah, we've got all the stuff that you need. We're just asking for some time.
And really put yourself out there. The big problem about our hobby, we have a lot of introverted people. We have a lot of people who just don't want to push themselves out to the public, but they love games. They want to be passionate about it, and they want to show it off to people, and they don't know how to approach people. Maybe watch videos how to be extroverted. put yourself out there. That's going to be the big thing, and have a friendly face and smile about it, and just general chat. Just and maybe if you're there for demos and you see people playing a different game system over here, maybe just chat them up while they're playing. And just general conversation, and maybe they not come over and play the demo that day, but because you talk to them, maybe the next time they come over and play.
Yeah. The perseverance, I think, is definitely a big trait that Pathfinders that really kind of hit and connect with their community. Like, that's a big part of them. And I think you mentioned it earlier, like, even just having like that one other buddy that you may know more on a personal level, that can be kind of your gaming buddy that can meet you at the store, and you could be, you guys could be going and playing the game and then people draw their eyes.
And you hit a very important part right there. Be at the store.
Be at the store.
Anytime you play, yes, you can. I'm not gonna say every time. Maybe you want to stay at home and you have a few adult beverages while you're playing, but generally, if you want people to play your game, be at the store and showing it off. If it's a big 40K day, if it's a big Infinity day, if it's a big bolt action day, if they have the gaming space, because obviously if they have reserved days, you don't want to take up their tables, but if they have the table space, be there and show it off. Especially like if you're a Pathfinder that's coming in for Halo, I guarantee you show up for a Warhammer day, Infinity day with Halo, and even if you're not
turn some heads,
even if you're not advertising it as a demo day, you might have people come over for a demo, and that could be the gateway into getting them into Mantic systems and seeing the brighter light, as I say, because again, better rules.
Yep. Well, definitely thanks for that advice, Dev. I think a lot of people can take to heart, and those of us that have also done the Pathfinder experience, a lot of the same values that kind of resonate with us as well. I think is a great way. Like if you feel that you want to grow that community, and you just kind of got to put yourself out there a little bit. Don't have to go crazy, but kind of taking that first step is slowly you're walking and then you're running. So
yep, just make sure you have your starters and bring a buddy along, and then you'll see where it goes.
Yeah, cool. Well, then with that, I think we're gonna switch gears a little bit to talk a little bit more Mantic news, and then we'll wrap up kind of with the hobby table with a bigger topic that we've got on the docket, and kind of take it from there. So I don't usually do that kind of thing before like a commercial break or anything like that, because I usually just cut the commercials right.
Hey there, I'm Brian.
And I'm Rick.
This is Blaine. You are listening to Deadzone, the podcast. Keep listening for more excellent material from these two amazing men. Blaine out.
But we've been all over the place, Brian.
Yeah. That's the thing with this show is like I have an agenda, but like I just look at the timing and it's just like, you know what, right here. That's a commercial.
Listen, you just gave me the agenda and I just jumped all over the place.
It's all good. It's one of the really fun things about both doing this show and this hobby, especially focused on Mantic content, is there is so much fun and joy within so many different aspects of it. Like it's hard to stay focused on one thing. And so we've already kind of talked about one of the topics with the news being the Nightstalkers are coming. And that is super exciting. And this part I can't confirm, but it likely means that we might be getting that command protocols for the Deadzone side of things, right? That little 0.5 kind of update to the 3.0 rules, which have been pretty solid. I think they've really been tried and tested at this point. Still, obviously, those little edges that could get a little better, but I think I'm excited to see where we go with that. The other thing that's been coming out, so unfortunately we're recording this before they showed the teaser for whatever's coming in the vault in June.
Oh my goodness.
You know what it is? We're probably going to miss it by a day. They're going to announce it tomorrow. And
yeah, I'm hoping it's Nightstalker related personally.
I can imagine. But I mean, like, the May release had we talked about it in the previous episode. It was a lot of the stuff that we knew that the vault was going to be great for, right? Like re-releasing things that were metal into a resin version with like the Strider weapon kits.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was before I was tackling these Nightstalkers, all those Enforcer upgrades.
Oh yeah.
I've been working on Enforcers as well, and so as soon as I was like, I don't want to pay for 5 models, these resin upgrade kits, and then they released them. Like, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, all the little upgrade kits for regular, like the Enforcer Phase Claws, all the special weapons and sets for, like, I think the engineers in there, all those little pieces, like, it's really coalescing in from the sci-fi side of things, like what we were really looking for.
Yes.
And they gave us our second full kind of new faction to play with, or kind of mercenary band, the Tercia Revolutionaries, which I still say sounds like a rebellious group. But like, one thing that has continued with part of that is now we're able to hop in the Companion app and check out the list itself. Yes. So it's another one that's a preset 200 point faction, and it's a whole bunch of, like, named characters from all over the Warpath side of things. Hector Sanchez, revolutionary leader. I mean, like, he's obviously a Reb. Lydia, brute force winger. The Commando Sergeant Ugaric. The I'll just go Roblox. R0-8 LOK. Orion. The Metabots. The T4 PIT. I think is there 2 Chrome guys, and then Lyra the Fixer. And, like, each one of them, like, some of them have, they're kind of their own unique unit, right? These aren't like, okay, you now have a mercenary faction where you just have, like, here's a GCPS Marine and here's a Brocker. Like, these guys are all very specific. But one of the fun things that's been coming out with it is, like, their own little rules for things.
Yeah, I was reading those before we got on the show, and it's very interesting how these guys will play with the terminals. Have you looked into this?
Yeah, I did see the terminals. Any model. So one of the faction special rules is terminals. Any model in a cube with a terminal may perform a special action to access the terminal, in which case the terminal will dispense 1 intel item. If the model accessing the terminal is capable of picking the item up, it will do so immediately without any further action required. Otherwise, place token item down in normal rules. And so a D8, 7 or 8, it's a booby trap. and but otherwise, like, otherwise place a model to represent the intel item, and the normal rules for picking up the items apply. So it's either intel or then roll a D8. As a result of 7 or 8, the model has triggered a booby trap. And each terminal may only be accessed once, and VPs are only gained on pickup, not discovery.
So those terminals, do they count as terrain pieces?
Yes, I believe they would be using the. I guess they can be terminal pieces if you have the sets that make them terrain.
So what you're saying is that these are basically Helldivers just dropping in stuff, right? Have you played that game yet?
I have not played that game, but I appreciate the reference to it. I played the first one. I haven't played the new one. That is all the rage.
The new one. You call in pods for new weapons, new items, stuff like that. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah,
it's I'm curious if that is a piece for just, it could be something where they're trying to get more of that interactive scenery on the board. But some of the other special operations, like special orders that you can get for the faction, basically you have options and you can decide which one you go with. So after deciding which scenario to play, but before recon rolls, choose one of the following for your army-wide special rule. Strip them down for parts. Whenever a construct or model with armor 2 or higher is eliminated in the same cube as Lydia, she regains her life support if it's already been expended, and you may remove a wound token from a friendly construct in the same cube. In addition, place one item from the unused item pool in her cube. She may immediately pick it up if for free if no enemy is in her cube.
Yeah, I don't care for that one too much.
It's kind of a fascinating one. It's very
situational.
Contextual. So
I think it'll be great against Asterians. Maybe?
Asterians, yeah.
But that's about the only one because even within your own squad here, I don't think you have. I think you only have one construct with armor 2.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
but she could definitely put the hurt on some heavy armored units herself, because she's got dismantled AP2 with her servo power fist ram.
Oh yes,
knockback and smash 1 hitting on 4s, with armor 2 herself. So solid life support engineer, energy shield 1 charged. And what's great is this is the same model that I use. I have the one that's from Dreadball, because this is a Dreadball captain. They've made her a little larger for the Deadzone model in the vault. But so the 28 millimeter Dreadball sized one, I have just as my rebel engineer. And I always forget that it's oh no, she doesn't have any armor. She's not the strongest fighter. She doesn't do bad, but it's always a fun thing. Anyway, next option is not a leader by choice but circumstance. Hector Sanchez gains the keywords communications relay and combat team training. Change his recon to 3+.
I think it's a strong one.
Earning her freedom. Lyra gains the headstrong keyword. Track how many VPs Lyra scores. The effects are permanent and cumulative. At 1 VP, Lyra gains the evade keyword. 2 VPs, Lyra upgrades to elusive 2. 3 upgrades to frenzy 3. 4 VPs gains tough. 5 VPs doesn't give any VPs when eliminated or leaving the game. Lyra at 6, Lyra is removed from the board at the end of the round after scoring objectives, but before checking scenario win conditions. If she is removed this way, you earn 1 VP. That sounds like a really fun.
That's the fun
crazy one. Yeah, Lyra the Fixer. Speed is 2/2. Range on 5, fights on 4, survives on 4s, no armor, 2 HP, size 1. Elusive N. Starting at 1, hacker, scout, stealthy, so she can't be hit by a clear shot. And so elusive. This model adds N dice as a modifier to their survive test when they are in the target of a shoot action, which uses a range test. So that's a new rule coming out, and I kind of dig it. It's kind of juxtaposed against evade, which is if you survive getting shot at, you get your move. This is you get an extra dice into your pool for your survive test. So that combined with evade would be really good.
Yeah, which I think that might be pulled, an idea pulled from the crouch mechanic from Halo, now that I'm looking at that.
Okay.
Because when you crouch, you actually got a defense modifier.
Ah, nice.
This can stack. Oh my goodness.
Yes. It stacks. It goes up to elusive 2 for her. So that'd be 2 extra dice if she's gained you 2 VP, which could be 1 kill.
1 kill, holding some objectives.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that's option 3. Option 4, coming in hot after being called in by the drop. I kind of like this one, actually. This is a lot of fun.
This one's fun, too.
Being called in by the drop suit rule, but before rolling for impact, Sergeant Ugaric may perform a single free shoot action against eligible targets that would be affected by the impact. This attack always receives a height bonus, but never a clear shot. Furthermore, he may reroll 1 die when testing the strength of the impact blast. So Ugaric, Commando Sergeant Ugaric, is a 1/2 speed, 5 up shoot, 5 up fight, survives on 4s, armor 2, HP 2, size 1, drop suit, fire control, and tack 1. Oh, he's got hollow sights on his gun. Auto blaster range 2 and laser rifle range 6. So the hollow sight is one we don't see often anymore because it kind of in its heyday in 2nd edition it was kind of an auto take, and Mantic kind of pushes back against auto takes.
Yes.
It's an extra dice on a shoot test. So he's coming in from above during the drop suit. He's getting 1 extra dice for height, 1 extra dice for whichever gun he's using. And he gets to reroll for the blast effect of the drop suit hitting the ground. So that's a fun model there.
Oh my goodness.
And so to kind of circle back, so you get to pick one of those 4 to kind of be your faction ability. So it's not quite I think I misspoke earlier. That's not the splat. I don't think. There's other leader special orders, which I think are the splats in this case. Solitus programming. Whenever Orion scores VPs for eliminating a leader or size 3 or 4, I think there should be more commas in there, some Oxford commas. Eliminating a leader, comma, or size 3, comma, or 4, gain +1 VP.
That one, yeah. And he's shooting with this Gauss Blaster, range 6, AP1 with hollow sight. I mean, there's good chance he could pull that off.
Yeah, shooting on 4s. The oddity about that one is special leader special order. So do you use? I think you use the command dice for that one.
The splat, yeah. That's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that's when it triggers, or you use it. You have to use it before, and then just pray you eliminate somebody.
The way I kind of read it would be that if this is special order, yeah. So this isn't the kind of faction special rules. So this would be, I would read it as that when you kill a leader size 3 or size 4, you can spend your special your command dice to gain that extra VP.
That's how I'm reading it too.
Yeah. The next one is resourceful by nature. So this one is on, who's got this ability? This is on Hector Sanchez. So the active model may spend a special order result as a short action to place a terminal or token in a random unoccupied adjacent cube on the same level or lower. If it lands in a friendly deployment zone, don't place it, and the die is still spent. So this is the call down for that terminal to show up. And having that as a special order, you can kind of just keep doing is kind of fun. Those are kind of the two, or the standout effects that this one brings to the table. I'm trying to think if there was any other.
Which I'm looking at a photo from the vault again. You have the team that you can print, but they also added some Deadzone scenery pack. So you have you have the DBX, the Dreadball Extreme crates, I think, right?
That's right. Yep.
So you could probably use those as your terminals coming down.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, Mantic, you're so clever.
I think I know what my next mini project's going to be.
So yeah, if you guys haven't, like, we won't go too much further into the nitty gritty on that list. Definitely check it out now that it's available if you haven't already. I think these are really fun ways to mix it up in the Deadzone side of things, and yeah.
This Deadzone, the podcast hobby table, is sponsored by Corvus Games Terrain, 3D printer files for all your Mantic games.
And by Acid House Terrain, foldable cardboard terrain for wargaming and RPGs.
So with that, we're going to move on to the hobby table section of the show. So this will be kind of the last one. Now, and the hobby table section is sponsored by Corvus Games Terrain. Makes one of our regular sponsors of the show, makes some really excellent 3D models, many of which are spec'd for Deadzone boards and make great use for Deadzone firefights. I've just completed a set that has a drill that like is aimed down into the ground. I'm going to have a little gain plank around that. It's so much fun.
It's fantastic terrain. I mean, I'm having troubles with my 3D printer getting it going, but I have a buddy.
It's always breaking down.
It's always breaking down. It's Ender 3, so go figure. But I have a buddy who has printed a lot, and he's like, "Oh, this might be 2 tables to Earth," and I'm sitting there stacking it, and we're like, "No, we're playing on this," and we had this giant table of. I think we get up to 3 or 4 levels on one of the things. So
yep. It's really great stuff. Definitely check it out. And they're a regular sponsor of the show, and you can get a little friendly coupon discount code if you put in DZ Podcast June for the month of June. That coupon will be good to get you a little discount at the checkout. Additionally, the hobby table section of the show is also brought to you by Acid House Terrain. They have the cardboard style of terrain in these like foldable and really travel friendly sets that you kind of refold them and prop them up with a center piece. Makes it, setting up, tear down so easy. You can have, like, we have a tub for that the podcast kind of has, and it has enough terrain for like 3 sets of Deadzone tables, or even stretching that out for like a firefight.
Oh,
table.
It's amazing for firefight. When you guys pulled that out for Adepticon, I was impressed.
Yeah, we were able to spread that around, I think 6 or 7 tables alone. It's great stuff. They just had a cyberpunk themed release not too long ago. So and they even have some fantasy based stuff. So definitely check them out. So the hobby table topic. Now normally we would talk a little bit about what we're working on for the hobby sake, but with Mantic pushing a summer of sci-fi, we thought we would do our part to do a Deadzone the podcast sponsored slow grow for this kind of season, and kind of with the purpose of getting a new faction built out, starting with Deadzone and getting all the way up into firefight with the scope and scale as we go. And so for June, we will be doing the scope is Deadzone at 150 points. So you put together 150 points worth of Deadzone models. You paint them up. By the end of June, we will be reporting back in with our selections and our first set of painted minis for that. which I'm pretty stoked to get into.
It's not fair, Brian. I have a head start.
Yeah, that's true.
I have a head start. No, I can't wait to see how the Nightstalkers play for Deadzone. But when you mentioned this to me, I'm like, okay, I might do something else. So I think I'm going to take part of this challenge as well and try to get some enforcers done.
As luck would have it, enforcers were on my docket too. So I will also be doing enforcers. I have had a set of them for a while now. I had barely gotten them to a very low level of firefight, but I did pick up the enforcer starter set.
I kind of have an unfair advantage as well in this one because I have about 3,500 points built. Because that was going to be one of my big projects. One of my goals this year was try to pay an army up to 2,000 points or higher.
Oh, nice.
Per quarter. So I was wanting to get 4 armies done this year. That didn't happen. Right now I'm just again, we beat the dead horse in Nightstalkers, so that's one of my goals this year. And then I want to get the enforcers done as well, and maybe finish up whatever plague I have left. I think that's going to be my goal for the year. And
it might work out though, because I think other channels are going to be hopping on this bandwagon too of doing their own slow grows, and so this could be a side project because we like to be ambitious, but at the same time, with as crazy as things have been, yes, we're also we're probably not going to go too crazy as far as the points go by the end. So June is going to be Deadzone at 150 points.
Yep.
July is going to be Firefight at 300 points. And August is going to be Firefight at 600 points. Now August is, as I understand, there's some stuff going on during August that we're ultimately trying to build up for Firefight with. And so I think that Mantic kind of stamps that as that's the end of, that's when they do their summer stuff, is in August.
Yes.
And so the big part of this is helping people kind of ramp up for those kinds of things and new releases and whatnot.
And that's a good slow start.
Yeah.
I mean, you're only talking, maybe a leader and a couple units a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then one of my kind of goals with 150 points, each unit in Firefight needs someone to be their designated leader. So part of my mentality as I'm putting together my 150 is, well, if I kind of build it to be maybe the leaders of my squads.
That's a good idea. I like that.
That's at least an idea I have going into it. I also, so some of you may recall, I have enforcers and I painted them up as Star Wars clone troopers. And you know what show I really enjoyed? The Bad Batch.
Oh, that is amazing. Yes.
So 150 points for a Bad Batch. I think I'll see if I can squeeze that in point wise. There's quite a few specialists in that group there. But
too bad the new Shatterpoint models don't scale down.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and we'll have Rick make his announcement as well, what faction he would like to do. He told me already, but I won't steal his thunder on it. And no, that wasn't a clue or anything. It's just the phrase.
I mean, he likes vehicles, so
he likes vehicles. But so yeah, that's a big part of what we have going on here at Deadzone. It is that thing for me. I struggle sometimes with doing these kind of slow grow leagues. So this is a bit of a push, but one that I think is very doable. And I hope to keep the momentum going too. Because
this is more reasonable than some of the ones I've seen or even done myself.
Yeah.
I mean, because if it was me, it's like, okay, well, the first month is like, hey, just get a few things together. We'll get a few things in. And it's like, okay, we need 500 points. Then we need 1,000, 1,500. Like, come on, guys, where are you at?
Yeah. And for me, like, I found kind of a sweet spot in my painting regimen to be like right around 6 models or something at a time. So this feels a lot more doable than I think when I almost got involved in a Kings of War based one, and it was like troops and regiments, and it's just like, oh, guys,
that's insanity. Yes.
For me, like, those of you that can do it, like, mad props.
Yeah, if you have the passion and the time to do that, go for it. That's the only struggle I have with this Kings is getting all those troops and regiments ready.
Yeah. But yeah, so hope you guys get to join us as a community with that. We'd love to see you guys post your pictures. We're gonna kind of put the call out each month, and in preparation for it, I'll see if I can. You guys can keep me honest on it. If you can, I'll kind of have a post for the podcast on our respective social medias. If you guys, as you're working on things, want to post pictures of that, we will post them with the show notes, so the community at large can check them out and see them. And I think this will be a really fun time. And painting stuff. So with that, I think that covers most of the topics that we had, and we're pretty much at time, if not a little over. So being respectful of that. If you like the show, please give us a like and a subscribe and all that fun stuff on all of our social media platforms. We really appreciate connecting with the community and hearing feedback from you guys. The one thing I almost forgot to mention, we had previously talked about doing Firefight Annihilation at the Michigan GT. We did get some feedback from folks that want to play regular Firefight as well. And so we will do what we can to make both happen, if that is possible. We're gonna have to talk to the event organizers, because the deadline, I think, for new events might have passed us. But we will do what we can, and
just casually play out in the lobby. It's fine.
Yeah, hopefully. With that, Dev, thank you so much for hopping on this episode. It was great having you as a guest. We will have to do this again sometime.
Anytime you want, buddy. You just let me know.
Yeah. And get some games in. We need to play against each other. I know the hard part about that is we usually meet up at events and then we're exhausted at 2 a.m.
Yes. Either for me this year was, being at the booth and running the Armada one, and you doing Deadzone Firefight, and we did the Dread Ball. We were busy. So, but we're only 3.5, 4 hours away, maybe. Yeah,
something like that. But there's some middle ground that we could meet up at potentially.
Maybe we can make it one of us goes and meets the other one and have a little fun.
Yeah. All right. So, Dev, feel free, like, your home store, if you want to shout it out real quick.
Yep. It is 3 Strikes Baseball Cards and Hobby. It's in Muncie, Indiana. You will see my dad's name on there because it's old school. David Slaven's 3 Strikes. But no, it's a small little shop. We have only a couple gaming tables, but it's home. It's help promote family business and play games. For sure. So if you're in the area and you want to get some Mantic gaming in, definitely go check out Dev at the little store. So with that, I think we will call that a wrap. So with that, I've been Brian. And I'm Dev.
And have a good night, everybody. I'm realizing I just kind of outroed in the same way that we do on Mobile Armor Radio, the other podcast that I'm on. But yeah, no, it was great having you on. This was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, that's good catching up, buddy.
Yeah, same here.